Welcome back to another segment of Community Helper Highlights, sponsored by the United Way of Northern Chautauqua County. I am your host and Executive Director of the United Way, Adam Dolce. And joining me today are Leslie Willie, the Community Engagement Coordinator, and Diane Hannum, the Executive Director, both here at the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for inviting us. We're excited to have you with us today.
Yeah, good to be here. So the Community Foundation has been in the community for how many years, Diane?
35 years. This is our 35th anniversary.
Oh, so it's a banner year for the Community Foundation.
It
Congratulations.
is. Leslie's working on something we hope we can celebrate in the fall. She's working with Rich Ryan, and we hope to do something later this year.
That's great. Mm-hmm. So community foundations are not unique to the Dunkirk-Fredonia community. They are kind of a national presence. What is a community foundation?
Well, in some ways, community foundations are unique to each area. You mentioned that they're throughout the U.S. They're really throughout the world. International. I've been to some international conferences. Mm-hmm. Just fascinating. Two things that might set community foundations probably more away from your typical nonprofit organization. We hold assets in endowment, which means they're here permanently, which means we'll be here year after year after year. Another thing that sets us apart is we're location-based. So we serve Northern Chautauqua County. Mm-hmm. That's where our focus is.
Okay. And how do you define Northern Chautauqua County? Because it's probably a little different than how I define Northern Chautauqua County within my organization. So that can mean a lot of things.
There is no line.
Okay.
And we support organizations that serve Northern Chautauqua. So they may be located somewhere else. They may be in Jamestown. They may be in Buffalo. We say the lake area of Lake Erie, but that's not really accurate either. There are so many ways to define it. We fund Sinclairville. We fund Mayville. We have scholarships at Chautauqua Lake. And we partner all the time with organizations in Jamestown and with funders in Jamestown as well.
Mm-hmm. So bottom line is the organization has to serve people here even if they don't physically have a location here.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Great. Mm-hmm. And what are some of the other defining characteristics of a community foundation? What are some of the things that a community foundation does for the people of our area?
Well, I can tell you where our three focuses are here at Northern Chautauqua. We focus on strategic grant making, and that includes scholarships as well. And strategic grant making doesn't just refer to the type of grant making where somebody puts an application in, we look at it and fund it. It's also our board looking out into the community, seeing what the opportunities are and what the issues are, and taking our discretionary funds and directing them in that direction. So strategic grant making is one of our primary characteristics here. A second one would be local philanthropy. So we focus on those in our community, businesses, families, giving back to build our endowment. So focusing on local philanthropy. And the third characteristic would be leadership and collaborations. Now, you know, Adam, we work in collaboration with your organization. We work in collaboration with you, United Way, and Southern Chautauqua County, and the Community Foundation there, as well as funders in that area. So collaborations and then leadership, we've been very active in local economic development lately, so that's an area where we show our leadership.
So endowments, I think, is when I think about the Community Foundation, an endowment is really kind of one of the distinguishing features that pops into my mind. Can you talk a little bit about what is an endowment? And,
sure.
You know, there's maybe an example of a couple of the endowments that are held here that give back to the community.
Right. So with an endowment, your gift that comes to the Community Foundation stays here. We invest it, and by we, I don't mean Victoria and I. We're not doing the investing here. We have a group volunteer investment committee, and they're not sitting around trading stocks either. Mm-hmm. They work with our investment consultant to come up with a policy, which is important. We have a strict policy that we follow with our endowment.
So you're good stewards of the money. It's not just give us the money and we're going to do good things with it. It's
Most
money
definitely.
That's cared for and looked after.
And very structured. And our goal with the endowment is to for our returns to, over a certain period of time, allow us to give out 4 or 5% a year, but also to keep up with inflation. So that obviously $100 today, 10 years from now, it's not going to buy you as much. So we work to keep up the purchasing power as well. As far as an example, we have a scholarship fund, and it was with the high school. It came to us, and it is called the Gross Speaking Prize. And it's been an endowment since 1922.
Wow.
So that shows you, gosh, it's going to be 100 years next year, the staying power of endowment. And we have others that just continue to grow and grow.
So the Community Foundation manages those endowments, but where does an endowment come from? So is there, are they family funds? Are they organizational funds? Is it all of the above?
It is. It is. We have corporations, businesses that set up endowments. Some DFT Communications, Lakeshore Savings are two businesses that have set up endowments. Families. Many families choose to set up either a scholarship fund, or when someone passes, a lot of times they do a memorial fund. We have a fund in my father-in-law's name, the Charles J. Hannum fund. That's a discretionary fund. Individuals, certainly they set up endowments as well. Many of them come to us through bequests.
Okay.
So an individual in his or her estate plan will leave a gift to the foundation that way.
So a lot of planned giving, people looking towards the future, wanting to give back to their community over many, many years, and the Community Foundation's a great option to kind of manage that and make that happen. That's
it's
great.
Really creating a legacy for your family.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you mentioned leadership is one of the areas where your Community Foundation gets involved in working collaboratively with different organizations. And one of those collaborative opportunities is coming up very, very soon through Give Big CHQ.
Yes.
So Leslie, can you tell us a little bit about Give Big? When is it occurring?
Yes, Give Big this year is on June 10th.
Okay.
So that's coming up rather quickly.
Yeah. And what is Give Big CHQ?
Give Big CHQ is what's called a giving day, and it is our only countywide giving day in our region. It's 24 hours. So I, kind of think of those 24-hour telethons you used to always see. It's like that, but for our local organizations that are serving Chautauqua County.
So kind of like Giving Tuesday, which is kind of an internationally recognized day of giving that gets a lot of press and publication, but this one is all about Chautauqua County. And where are some of the agencies that are involved from, and how many organizations are involved this year?
Yeah, this year is our biggest year yet. We have 112 total organizations registered. Of those, when they register, they self-identify as either serving the full county, North County, or South County. We have 61 serving the full county, 20 from North County right here, and 31 serving South County.
That's great. So that's even a great kind of division of numbers to see that kind of representation. It's pretty equal then countywide. That takes a lot of work to get those organizations to come to the table and be ready to take that.
Yes.
What can an organization expect that's participating in Give Big? What maybe should they be doing? How are they getting the word out about what they're doing and the fact that it's there?
Right. So when they register for the event, they create a page, their own individualized fundraising page within, the framework of Give Big. We are partnered with Chautauqua Region Community Foundation on this event, and the two foundations individually are promoting the event as a whole, and we're asking the organizations that are participating to promote their own individual pages. So a lot of them are using social media, the news, things like that to promote.
So if we're getting bombarded with emails from all of our favorite not-for-profits about Give Big, this is what it really is all about, is some kind of raising awareness.
Absolutely.
And letting us know that this special day is coming up.
Yes.
And if somebody that's out there wants to figure out how to give or where to give, where should somebody who's maybe seeing this go to look at the agencies that are participating and to decide where their gift is going to end up?
Yeah, you can go right to givebigchq.org, and when you're there, you can look up any of your favorite organizations. You can see by category by interest which organizations are registered, and you can even make donations easily in one fell swoop to multiple organizations while you're there.
There's the kind of like checking out when you go to Amazon. You can add all your
Yes.
donations to a cart and check out at once, right?
Exactly.
That's
Yep.
awesome. And there's some incentives and some special time periods with Give Big, correct?
There are. So the two foundations that are hosting the event, NCCF and CRCF, both are making a gift of $15,000 to what we're calling our 716 stretch pool. So organizations, to qualify for a portion of those bonus dollars, will need to have 10 unique online donors between 7:16 a.m. and 7:16 p.m. So if you're looking to give during that day, doing so during that 12-hour period can really help them qualify for some of that bonus.
So at that point, it's not just about me going in and giving my $50, $100, my contribution. I might be helping that organization pull down some additional dollars and earn a little bit more based on my donation. So between 7:16 a.m. and 7:16 p.m., it's easy to remember the 716.
Exactly.
There's an opportunity there to really help that organization and go a little bit above and beyond maybe what that donor is giving at that point in time.
Yes, that can really, multiply the impact of your giving on that day.
No, that's fantastic. It's great work. It's a great opportunity to give back right here where we live and make a difference right here in Chautauqua County. So, very cool initiative, and so happy that the Community Foundation takes that project on because it makes a huge difference to our not-for-profits. Diane, there's some important things coming up at our Community Foundation. You have a meeting coming up that's very important, right?
Oh, we certainly do. Our annual meeting is coming up just a few weeks now, June 14th, which is a Monday at 4 p.m. We will be doing it through Zoom, which everybody seems to be getting used to. What some people may not know about our annual meeting is that it's open for the public. There are what we would call business aspects of it. So our board and what we call our voting members have a few things to vote on. Not a lot. The election of new board members, the election of voting members, and a few things like that. But the bulk of the meeting is spent talking about the foundation, reviewing what we've done the previous year. We talk about giving, we talk about plan giving, and it doesn't last, I don't want to say it doesn't last that long. It's not a long meeting. You're not sitting there, for hours upon end. The business meeting and the review, maybe 50 minutes, but the highlight is the presentation of the Footprints Awards.
So this has been, your annual meeting this year will probably be of special interest because of everything that's been going on over the course of the past year. Can you talk a little bit about what maybe the numbers looked like over the past year, very quickly, kind of what's going to come out of that annual meeting, not in detail, but how has the year been?
Well, 2020 was, we were talking a second ago about endowment and the staying power of that. And because of our endowment, we were able to just keep on chugging. We didn't miss a beat. We were able to, I'm tired of the word pivot, but we were able to pivot and just address our assets where they needed. So we made, first of all, we had 950 or so individual donors or families contribute just in the 1 year. We had 16 new funds. We have a total of 430 funds. Totally, we granted, what did we grant? About 1.2 million, almost 1.3 million into the community, helping with COVID relief, helping with scholarships, and just our general quarterly giving that we send to agencies.
So almost $1.3 million that you've invested into the community over the course of the past year. That's a big number for a community the size of ours.
It is, and every year it gets a little higher, and it's thanks to our donors, community members. Our average donation isn't that much, but it's everybody pulling together, and then the bequests as well that really make the difference.
All about that collective impact. Unlike United Way, Community Foundation doesn't have as specific a scope as I do at my organization. You guys can do a little bit more and have a little more freedom with where you invest. So maybe what are some of the areas you have invested in over the course of this past year?
Well, the past few years we've made a commitment to local economic development. So one of our largest grants last year would have been to support economic development in our community in Northern Chautauqua. And that was through a grant to, it's not a county organization, it's an individual nonprofit, but it's the Chautauqua County Partnership for Economic Growth.
Okay.
CCPEG. So we've been supporting that type of work for 3 or 4 years now, and we've really been putting a lot of money in that direction. But we also give to the arts and culture, to the Opera House. There's a really neat organization in Westfield called the Lakeshore Center for the Arts. Really a neat group. They've been around 5 or 6 years doing good work, so we give money to them as well. And of course, youth organization, health and welfare, the whole gamut.
You've invested in several parks and community initiatives around the area as well, so definitely making a difference. An important part of your annual meeting, as you mentioned, was the Footprints Award. Can you tell us a little bit about the Footprints Award and this year's recipients?
Sure. So the George B. Weaver Jr. Footprints Award was created to recognize and honor those in our community that are creating footprints for others to follow in through their community service and their philanthropy in our community. This year's recipients of that award are Kathy and Peter George of Casadega.
So the award is named after George Weaver. Can you tell us a little bit about the namesake and why maybe Kathy and Peter were selected for this year's award?
Yeah. Many who have been around the community will have known George Weaver. He has passed. Just a fantastic guy. I mean, he was, first of all, he was one of the individuals who started the foundation. He was a World War II vet, Fredonia Seed Company, and just a modest man, but very generous. He wasn't the type, in fact, when the award was established, and he was our first recipient, Dave Duino, who was our development director there, said, "Hey, George, you know, we'd really like to name this after you. Can we do that?" And he said no. So with permission from his children, we named it the George B. Weaver Jr. Footprints Award after he passed. But really, again, community service and philanthropy, and not bringing attention to himself in any way. Modest. What happens with a lot of the Footprints recipients. And so George received it in 2002. But a lot of times the committee will select someone, I'll call them and say, "Hey, you know, you've been selected for this," and they'll say, no, I don't do that much, somebody else should get it. So they're modest individuals, not looking for recognition.
No, that's fantastic. Makes a big difference, and that, again, kind of, you've hit on it a few times, that small gift that you get, those kind of modest givers, it really takes our whole community to move us forward, and everybody in our community can make a difference. It seems to be kind of a theme that I'm hearing as we've talked today, which is awesome.
Yeah, I can tell you, I had the pleasure recently of sitting down with several people who have collaborated with and worked with our most recent recipients, Kathy and Peter George. And every single one of them, it seems like, said the same thing, that they are better people because of Kathy and Peter George, that our community is stronger and better because of them. So, you know, people, I think, don't realize the impact that they can have and the example that they're really setting for others in our community.
Good point. So we're going to start to wrap up. We have just a couple minutes left. If somebody wants to give to the Community Foundation, maybe outside, we'll get to Give Big again in a minute, but specifically to NCCF, how would they make that gift? Where can they go to learn a little bit more about your organization and what you do?
Of course, we have a website, nccfoundation.org. As far as making contributions, you can give through the website. You can send a check-in. You can stop by and visit us. We're always interested in talking to people about planned gifts or giving gifts of securities, kind of those more sophisticated kinds of gifts. But it's very easy to give. Something we haven't mentioned is our office location. We're at 212 Lakeshore Drive West in Dunkirk, and particularly now that things have opened up, we welcome visitors.
Excellent. So here on Lakeshore Drive in the city of Dunkirk, or nccfoundation.org. And for Give Big CHQ, it's on June 10th.
June 10th.
And if they want to make their gift for Give Big, where do they go?
GiveBigCHQ.org. On June 10th, it'll be open for 24 hours.
Okay, excellent. So great ways to give back to the community, get involved, make a difference. Thank you both for everything you do to help our community. You make a huge impact on our area, and it's so much appreciated. Thank you.
We appreciate your coming in. Thank you.
Yeah, no, glad to spend some time with you.
Great.
Again, this has been Adam Dolce with the United Way of Northern Chautauqua County as part of our Community Helper Highlight Series, and we look forward to seeing you again next month. Have a great day.